Okay, let's get started. Good afternoon. My name is Latoya Miller. I'm here to present to you the OK Career Guide system for counselors only, my favorite group of people, group of healers just like myself. As we go through the slides, you'll notice that I have some transition slides with words, basically topic headings for the OK Career Guide PowerPoint slides I'm about to present next. At any time, do feel free to, you can put your questions in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself during those slides and ask me a question if you like. That's what we're here for, support, Q&A, and basically helping you to get a better feel for using the OK Career Guide system from the admin side, as well as looking at the student view and understanding how the two collaborate with each other. So today what we'll be doing, we'll go through an introduction. We'll talk about available supports for the OK Career Guide system. We'll go over OKCG's ICAP features, the administrative features more so, as well as administrative reports. And we'll also review just a quick review of Connect's business. And then we'll also do like last final submission of Q&A. If you had some questions that sort of popped up at the end and you just wanted to wait, well, that'll be a perfect time to also ask those questions. Going forth, I'd like to let you know once again, my name is Latoya Miller. I'm in the center. I'm the beautiful one. No, joking. And then I also have two great co-hosts that also teach and train with me as well. I have AJ Kroll as well as Nathan Brubaker. And AJ is also working our chat box to also help answer some of these questions that you guys may have. I love to always put this out there for you guys. You might want to take a picture of this page, or you can snip it, or whatever your way of saving useful information is from a screen. This is our OK Cooter Galaxy client engagement. Oh, sorry, Cooter Galaxy is our other program, but this is our Cooter client engagement line. If at any time you have a question about the system and you can't get in contact with either myself, AJ, or Nathan, you can always call them. They're open Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can also email them as well, because I know if you're a teacher using a live program, sometimes you can't pull out your phone. You need to do a quick email. So they have two nifty ways you can get in touch with them. You can either call the 1-877 number, or you can email them. But they are excellent and open answering questions. They can help you problem solve the situation right there on the spot. If you get in a tight where you can't figure out something with a student's account, you can always feel free to call them. They are really wonderful about getting you going. Lord knows that when I was in the field as a counselor, teaching and working with high schoolers, I used them a few times and they saved me. So can't put that out there enough. So we're going to go over our OK Career Guide resources. One of the best places that I can tell you to find any kind of resource or additional curriculum, or as we teachers call it, enrichment curriculum, would be to go to our ctu.org webpage. On ctu.org, you would basically go there under the ctu.org, and then you would select Career and Academic Connections. The link is still under our previous name. We're now Counseling and Career Development. But under Career and Academic Connections, you can find the Direct Your Future curriculum. It is a full curriculum that you can use with the OK Career Guide system. You can download it to your desktop. Feel free to save it to your desktop and have a virtual copy. I don't know about you, but if you teach multiple preps, those virtual copies of teacher curriculum come in very handy. They were my favorite types of curriculum. We also have the ICAP assignment sheet that you can hand out to students. These assignment sheets are actually divided by grade levels. So if you teach a solid grade, or if you teach a mixed grade, you can feel free to print out whatever you need, however many you need, in whatever variety, and hand them out to your students so they can work on grade level appropriate assignments for you. We also have grade level ICAP development checklists. These are great vertical alignment guides. If you're a teacher who teaches a variety of grades, like I was when I was in high school, one of the best things you can have is a checklist by grade level, so you can vertically see the things that your grade level has to do before they move on and don't get a chance to do it anymore, but are expected to know it and understand it. And in case you don't like looking at sheets like that, we also have our ICAP work-based learning timeline. This is a great sheet to also use to help you understand like what kind of tasks students need to be working on by grade level, what you could do, what kind of opportunities you can look for your grade level students to get them exposed to that career journey, or get them started on their career journey even. As you can see, for the OK Career Guide system, we start as early as 6th grade. So if you have 6th graders that you teach up till 12th graders, you can feel free to look at this timeline sheet and figure out what you want to do or plan for this year, next year, or even supplemental assignments you want to put in to enrich your students on what career exploration looks like. What does work look like? Help them learn about those soft skills associated with jobs. You can look at all these things and figure that out just by looking at this timeline material and figure out what category of career in the career area you need to be introing to your students. And last but not least, we have our 6th career field cluster sheet where you can hang that up in your classroom so students can see it and figure out, based off whatever job skills they get identified, what cluster does that fall under? What career field does that fall under? And figure out if they want to stick with the job they got identified with or look at more career occupations under that field. Other resources we have would include our posters. These are excellent to put around your classroom in the school to help facilitate and start those career conversations. Some students may not even think it's time to do to even think about their careers until they see those posters. So always good conversation starters for counselors to have. We also have our YouTube videos, which have do-it-yourself videos on them, such as looking for scholarships, how to do college searches, how to create an admin account, how to create a basic account. It has all kind of different videos to help people to get started on the OK Career Guide system in case some of your questions are not answered here today. And once again, we also have our curriculum that's available on the ctu.org website. And in case you're wondering, yes, OK Career Guide this is its 6th year of being around from my memory, because we started, I believe, in 2015. We are doing some rebranding. I just wanted to show you guys some of the new posters that you might start seeing in the coming year. This is just a fresh new look we have. So if you have the old posters, you can still keep using them, but you might want to keep an eye out for our brand new stuff that's coming out. And now to our OK Career Guide ICAP features. One of the reasons why I put this slide in here is because I want you to see the 6 career fields and the 16 clusters. In case you have not been updated, as of last year, towards the end, we did make a 17th career cluster for the energy field. It is not on this current picture, but we do have it in the OK Career Guide system for everyone to access. This is basically a look from the student view system, but basically if you want to look at the energy clusters that debuted in the fall of 2020, it covers career options in wind, solar, fossil fuels, and other alternatives. We are one of the few states to identify energy as its own cluster, and there are 80+ jobs either created or identified under this cluster. The slide shows that there are 2 ways to view the energy careers in the OKCG system. You can explore them under the occupations suggested by national career clusters and pathways at the top, or you can look at them from the additional clusters pathway and that is identified. If you do the occupation suggested by national career clusters and pathways, it'll take you basically to this screen. My slide's just a little cut off here, but at the top are the original 16 clusters that already existed, and students can basically go into their account, click on the occupation suggested by national clusters and career pathways. If they want to look at the other 16 clusters, they can click on any of them at the top. But at the bottom, where this energy light bulb is, this is the 17th cluster that we have debuted at 2020 in the fall. If you go there, you'll basically get a generic explanation of the career field, as far as also about 5 or 6 generic jobs that span across all those different areas of energy, such as wind, solar, and fossil fuel. And then you'll also have a brief video from our director, Dr. Matt, who talks about the creation of the energy clusters for Oklahoma. And that's one way to access the energy fields. The second way, under additional clusters and pathways, if a student selects this pathway, they will be directed to 10 pages of energy-related occupations. It has a summation of highlights about the energy cluster at the top of the page, But this page would make a good career awareness lesson. Since this cluster is fairly new to students, you could complete a day in the high schools or even in the junior highs, where you just basically give them the ability to see what choices they have available to them in energy. And if they possess the training in a particular occupation, or even find it as find that they have skills that they'd like to use in a certain energy occupation. One of our newer programs that also debuted, I want to say maybe 1 or 2 years ago, is the Cooter Galaxy system. Of course, it's the best approach. The best approach to meaningful and comprehensive development is to start as early as possible, and that's what Cooter thought about when they created Cooter Galaxy. The Oklahoma Department of Career Tech now provides Galaxy, an online career awareness system for all students in grades pre-K through 5. And this system is specifically designed for elementaries. It does cover, once again, grades pre-K through 5. Galaxy makes learning fun about the world. It helps to ignite the playful spirit of young learners through a series of engaging videos, games, activities. And the next slide will basically show it is divided, themed by grade level. Each grade level has either a travel, it's what is work, what do people do at work. It's all about exploring just different things that are associated with work to help our young learners really get a grasp on the life of having a career. It is strictly based on John Holland's research on vocational awareness. And Galaxy asks developmentally appropriate questions such as, at the bottom, what is work? What do people do at work? Why do people work? Tools that are used at work. Where do people go to work? How to prepare for work, and how to learn about occupations. It may not seem huge because we're as adults, but children really do have these questions. They are really curious about, when mom goes to work, what does that mean? I remember a conversation I got into with one of my younger students in first grade when I used to teach elementary. And I remember asking him to be good. Work and good sort of have that vague understanding for students. Because when I asked him what was being good, he told me being good. But he couldn't explain to me or break it down that being good was sitting down in my seat, being quiet, raising my hand to ask questions. And when you use the word work with your children at the younger ages from pre-K to 5, they still have those kind of questions. Work is work, but they don't understand the specifics in work, such as I go to a job, I have a skill set I use at this job. I have a certain set of tools that go with my skill set that I use at this job. And the purpose of this job is to help people build something or get this goal accomplished. And that is what the Cooter Galaxy system does for students. It helps them to add definition to a word that is otherwise abstract in meaning to them. The system is based upon, it provides lessons to them that students can either listen or read. It just depends on what level your students are at. It also has videos for them to watch about different career fields. They get to play video games that help them utilize the skill that they would need on that career field. And then they also have activities they can complete. When they're done with these things, they have the opportunity to earn a badge by completing all the different segments of the training, such as the video, the game, and the activity. And they can also complete worksheets and coloring sheets, and they can earn mission patches. Cooter Galaxy also has curriculum available on ctu.org as well. We have created lesson plans that go in sync and also have the teacher standards on them that align by grade level. So it is a pretty good system to use with your students at the earlier grades, or if you know someone who's an elementary teacher, please feel free to share this with them. It would be a good asset for them to use in their classroom. See, I have, I think, one chat question. Oh, thank you, Michelle. She gave us a compliment. I'll take that in the middle of this one. So the question that we have out here is, what do you need to use your administrative account for? I don't know if all of you have administrative accounts or if it's something that you're maybe just browsing or thinking about getting, but what do you feel that you need an administrative account for that you cannot do right now? And we're going to go over some things that an administrative account is capable of in case you haven't, or you don't have an idea, or you don't know why you would need one. We're going to explore that in this next section. As you know, the OK Career Guide leads to all Oklahomans through the proven career development process that was established by, that was established by House Bill 2155, or the ICAP bill. And in this bill, the main purpose of it is for career and college interest surveys, or to the assessments as they're known, for them to set post-work force goals or goals, to initiate a sequence of courses, which OK Career Guide calls the ED plans, and to also track academic progress, which is also part of the ED plan, and then to complete a service learning or work environment activity. This is the progression that a student was supposed to complete in order to consider House Bill 2155, or the ICAP bill, successfully completed. OK Career Guide is a tool that we use to help make sure this process is followed and tracked, and able to provide accountability to your REOs and your other state officials. The admin reporting side of the system has a number of useful components to ensure that this is done. Reporting on assessments, it reports on ED plans. You can pull a report on goals, ICAPs, registration, usage. Through the admin system, a lot is available. You have the ability to also mass register by using a standardized format for all students. You can also mass register them, or you can also get in contact with Tutor Client Engagement, and they will either complete the process for you or help you with it. So that's another thought that you might want to write down. You can also find users' information. You can reset passwords. I have used my admin account well. If you are at the beginning of the year, it would behoove you to go ahead and print the whole username report by grade level in alphabetical order, because you will use it quite frequently. Students, when they come away from summer, have a slight erasure that happens and don't remember any of that. So an admin account serves you well because you can access that information. It also helps you with transitioning users out of your school to clean up your database, which I will tell you is a huge thing that skews reporting if you don't maintain your database effectively. It would behoove you to also teach your students to be more responsible. That's something that we do cover in the basic side of OK Career Guide, not so much on the admin side. And then you can also access curriculum and lesson plans through the OK Career Guide admin account as well. In order to get access to the admin side, you'll need to learn your organization access code and password. That is something that you can call us for, or you can also contact Tutor Client Engagement, and they can tell you the person who's over your district, or they can help you get that information so you can create one. There's likely someone at your school, though, that has that information and can help you get started. But you can also, like I said, reach out to that client tutor engagement team, or you can call us as well. That's what we're here for. We're here to support you. We're here to help you to be successful with using the system. In order to log into the OK Career Guide system, you go to it just like you would if you were a student. You can Google okcareerguide.org, and it will be one of the first links that comes up. Normally it's purple because it's so used that it used to be that much in use in my system and in my school system. Once you get there, you will hover over this login page, this login button, and you will choose the administrator login option to get into your account. One particular feature I want to point out is the usefulness of the first page when you go into the administrator login. And that is, of course, this page, which is the welcome page or the at a glance page. The first box on the at a glance page gives you the number of users in your system. Whether you're new or returning, this section is good to check for the health of your system, the number of students active. It's normally the best way to know, if you know you have 1,800 students and you look in there and all of a sudden you see 3,000 students, it's a pretty good chance at that point that you have too many students in your system that have not been rolled out, transitioned, or moved on to, being graduates. So they're in your system creating a skew of the data. And this is not necessarily a good thing, because if you're a counselor who wants to plan a career fair, or you're trying to figure out what occupations to invite to your school that are going to be meaningful to your students, this is going to mess you up because you have too many people in your system that are not there anymore. And as we've learned, occupational trends, they change over time. I remember before I went to college, everybody was going to be a nurse. By the time I got to college, everybody wanted to be a teacher. Now that I'm out of college, everybody's in technology. And those are things that we need to pay attention to as educators. And the best way to do that is by paying attention to this total registration and making sure that it's healthy. that the numbers are not skewed. You don't have, once again, that balance of, I know I have 1,800 students, but in my system, I see right here, I still have 252 students, or I only have 48 students, because those numbers will tell you either you didn't roll over your 8th graders to become 9th graders, or you have a whole bunch of 9th graders that never rolled over to 12th grader or graduated, and they're in your system causing your data to be skewed. Whoops, sorry, let me go back. Technology today. The next thing I want to point out too is communication with system users. This is a link that I think teachers do not use. I will tell you that it is a very useful link. I get a lot of questions about, how to do different features in OKCG, and we're going to really deep dive into this feature once we get started. It is really helpful to help you communicate with your students and your parents, and set goals. So as we go on later on, I'll get into this and I'll explain it to you. Another, the third section, of course, is, I feel like, is this interest box in the at a glance section, which is the overall status of your whole campus. The best use of this tool is, like I said before, is overall planning. It's an overall planning tool for events, engagements for your students. When you look at this, you can already tell how many of your students are interested in what career cluster. So if I'm looking at this and this was actually my campus, I know that majority of my students, or at least 20% of them, want to see education and training. So of course, I'm going to invite colleges out that have training programs in education and nursing programs where they teach teachers and they train them. If I look down, I see that the next is government and public administration, 16%. So I'm going to reach out to my law enforcement department. I'm going to invite my military people. I'm going to talk to people who have different law programs on campus, and I'm going to invite them next. And I'm going to have a career day that's probably with them, that's dedicated to them, so that we can use this information. Remember that so much of education has been based on what's popular right now. And what we're trying to get you to do is use your actual research-based knowledge to build something that you can go back to your administrators and say, look, or you can build a SIP plan, your campus improvement plan, and say, look, I know we need to do this many events because based off of this data that I pulled from my OKCG system from my students that is reliable, that they want to see this. So this makes sense now to your administrator. This makes sense to, if you need a budget or you need to pull amount, you need money, or you need to actually make a day of going to see these businesses. This all makes sense because you have the research that backs you. And I'm a firm believer in research. If you've never seen me do a training, I come from Texas. In Texas, we have a saying, in God we trust, everyone else must bring the data. And this is the way we as counselors can bring the data without having to do a huge Google-based survey, without having to reach out to SurveyMonkey, because that data is already here in the OKCareerGuide system. So moving on to the at-a-glance system, we're going to go back to the post a message feature. When you go, I'm going to back up real quick. Sorry. Technology and me are getting along today. When you go into this post a message feature, this is one of the best features I can definitely say that exists. You can click on it. It's going to take you, sorry, I clicked the wrong button. Thank you guys for your patience. You're going to go to this feature right here. In my case, I have a dummy account that I use when I'm training. So for my account, I'm at the OCD.training. That would actually be my school name. If you're at Putnam City, it would say Putnam City. If you're in Lawton Public Schools, it would say Lawton Public Schools. You would just pick your site. Now, if you're not at a district level, you might be a counselor who's designated to a building. Well, in that case, you're going to, of course, click this button, and you're going to go down to, sorry, it wants me to know what time it is. You're going to go down and choose your school site so that you can make a message to your school site only. Under here, you can choose to either do A to Z. You can leave it alone if you want to include everybody at a certain grade level. You can go down here and click your all education level, and you can choose what grade level you want to talk to. I think this function is very useful for counselors and for principals, as well as for teachers, but mainly for counselors and principals, people who have to talk to huge numbers of grade level or alpha order student groups so that they can convey a message. If you are a counselor who's dealing with seniors only, this is great. If you're dealing with freshmen only, this is a great tool, because then you can now create a message that only goes to your grade level through OKCareerGuide. So for me as a counselor, I used to have things that I really needed my freshmen and my 10th graders to pay attention to because we were always deadline specific. One of the biggies was Oklahoma Promise. I had to put that information out for my students so they stayed aware of it. So if this is the case, this is where you want to do this at. You want to post a message. You want to choose your 9th grade or your 10th grade or whatever group you want to talk about. Maybe you're like my school. My school, we did it both ways. We went grade level and we also did alpha order, which was insane sometimes. So if you're an alpha order counselor, maybe you do need to talk to only A to D, D to E, F to G. You want to specify then only those students. And you might need to talk to them you might need to only talk to the A to Z in 9th grade only. You can do that with this system and actually post an actual list of things you need them to do. You can also give them you can also put in here if you want them to consider assessments. If you know they haven't taken them yet, then maybe you need to also put that in the message as well. You can also put the date range you want the message to go to. For me, sometimes when it comes to Oklahoma Promise, it's all year long. So I started from day one all the way to the very last day. If it's something as simple as you need them to check their class schedule to make sure that their classes are not repeats, that they're not taking the same class over, that they actually have it they're taking a grade level appropriate class, this is where you can put that message at. It will go out to all your students as you specified it to. It will also last for the deadline that you specified it to. And the great thing about it is you have evidence that you sent that message out to your students. You have a documentation because this will stay in your administrator account. Even when it goes away, you still have it. Good things to have for a counselor because it's document, document, document. And that's the name of the game. Once you do that, sorry, I'm gonna work on that click. I remember what's wrong. Okay, sorry. You will get this box where you can type your message. Notice that you can once again specify your dates, how long you want it to go, when you want it to end. You can call it whatever it is, Oklahoma Promise signups, CPR signups, career fair day, whatever it is. You can title that event. You can put this information down here. You can even put a link down in here that you want them to email you at if you have information. But you can include you can copy and paste probably a flyer down there too if you want to. And then you can send that notification out through the Oklahoma Career Guide system to your students. You can also send it to parents. If you're a district that strongly enforces parents to sign up and you want to make sure they're aware that, hey, we are talking to you and your students just so you know, you can also select this third option here. And it will notify the parents within your system and it will notify your students as well. You may have systems where your parents don't give you the email. This may be the best way to start collecting their emails is through the Oklahoma Career Guide system so you can start some type of communication on a regular basis to those students. I will definitely tell you that senior parents are the best parents to get to sign up because that way they're along with you for the journey. When you go over to the student section, this is what it would look like. So for my student Magic the Unicorn, this is where she would go in her message section on her account. It would look just like this. So in my case, I called it updates for March, the ODC training. If you notice, I have some mistakes in here. I will also talk to you about that later on how to fix these mistakes because sometimes you're typing as a counselor and a student walks in and talks to you and we got a mistake. Don't worry about that. You can actually still fix this and it will update immediately in the system. And once again, once they get there, sorry, I clicked on it again. All my clicking. This is what the message will look like. In my case, I was talking to seniors only. So what I told them was all seniors need to complete the following by on or before March 15th. In my district where I came from, March the 15th was a magical deadline because our seniors were about to get away from us and start their senior week and we would never touch them again. So we always use March the 15th as our deadline to like, hey, pronto, get this to us before graduation. Sorry about that. So just again, that's the view of it. That's what it looks like when the students come across. So I wanted to show you that at least so you can see it from the admin side and you can see it from the student side. So If you do want to correct it, let's say you have a mistake, you got on something, you sent out a message, you realize, oh my God, I put a capitalizer, oh my God, I did not include this date. You can go in there and fix that message. You don't have to recall anything, you don't have to cancel anything. All you have to do is go up here to post message, right here on the top of the ADMS tools. It's right here next to reports under tools and resources. So when you go to tools and resources, you can click down here where it says post a message, and it will have under it, sorry, my slide is very sensitive. I might have to work on that next. It will have that on there so that you can actually work on it. Another option in that same little yellow box I showed you previously was posting a link. So, sorry, it's trying to go ahead of me and I can't let it do that. Under posting a link, this is this one you don't have as much control over. It is not as specific as, say, the posting of messages. When you do posting a link, the link will go universal. Everyone will be able to see it who has access to your system. So if you're a counselor or principal and you need there to be some universal communication to all students, like the handbook needs to be ready available to all students, the field trip guide needs to be available to all students. There may be a chance to do ACT, ASVAB testing, those kind of things are available to all students. Then you might want to go ahead and post it here. All you have to do is copy and paste the URL under link, and then you can label it ASVAB testing, handbook, whatever you need all students to know. You might even put your counselor website there so they have easy access to you. Not only will they have it now, but if parents are able to get access to this, they can see it. And you can put all that information right here. It will be universally available to all your parents, all your students who have access to this account. You can delete an account once it's done. If you have something that maybe it was just deadline specific, like ASVAB testing didn't last all year, but it was going to last for, the first 2 months. After it's over, you can go over here and click the little trash can and get rid of it. It deletes it immediately, updates your post, and you can keep everything as up to date as needed. Nothing is permanent. You can always make it as flexible as it is to this year. If one thing COVID has taught us is that we got to stay flexible. And so if you are one of those schools that's using a lot of virtual information right now, this is a great place to do that. So now, inside the system, on the reports tab, this is where we're going to get into our reports. We're going to talk about what's available for you to pull in case you have a visit coming up. And everything that you really want to access is going to be under reports. Inside the system on the reports tab, you're able to run simple reports on who has or hasn't done an activity, as well as gather detailed information, like identifying all non-trad students interested in STEMs to target for enrollment or support. If you're like me, we used to have days where we had our CTE systems coming out, and they like to talk up to the students about different things. If you have them where your CTE comes out and talks about different career fields, well, this report can also help you pull those students. You can see who identified as what and pull students for them to talk to who actually may have an interest in what they are actually presenting. The additional reports section is where you can also run your ICAP specific reports, as well as customize those green and white cards that we saw on the student side. This is our additional reports. When it comes up, as you can see, it might be tiny for you guys, but it'll show like your example of the graduation plan, your summary reports, also your goal reporting. All that comes under the additional reports tab. It's a bigger slide, but this is where we do our additional reports right here. If you click on the icon, that looks like, I always say it looks like a proofreading mark right up here in the corner. It looks like 3 straight lines. You can also get the dashboard summary like you do on the additional logon page of the student's progress overall in the OKCG system. Let me see, sorry. And basically this is where you would click on this. It will bring you to this page. If you click here on dashboard, it will actually bring up a dashboard that shows you like student signatures, who's actually gone in, signed off on their actual goals, parent signatures if they've approved plans. If you have a system where you're working with parents heavily and they need to approve these plans, then you can see those actually come in at this dashboard. Administrative signatures, if you have principals who like to be involved and they're actually signing off, you can see that. You can see the number of students who are in an ICAP. It's color coded so you can see what grade levels are actually taking the ICAP test. You can see students who've actually been completing goals, like, and this is a summative report. It does automatically it sets its own year. It progresses as the years progress. There is no, you don't really customize this report. It is what it is. Now, here are some snapshots of the reports you can get under the additional reports. One page, this one is called the one-page summary. Basically, it provides a report for the students' 3 assessments taking with descriptions. It's great. It's a great handout for, like we said, the parent conference. In this case, it's for an individual student. It shows like how Magic actually tested. It shows like what her top career interest was, as far as also her super works inventory, what's important to her in order for her to have a career. We also have the top 3 report, which you can pull for all students. It just goes in alphabetical order, and it'll show every individual student as well as what was their actual top pick out of the 3 top clusters. We have the aggregated report, which you can look at grade levels and specific student populations by gender, ethnicity. This is great for providing targeted intervention. This is probably the report you want to take to build a SIP plan on, or if you want to sit down with your counselors and actually talk to them about how you want to change your counseling interventions. What do you want to do differently? This is the report you probably want to look at the most, because it's going to give you an overall view of your actual students by grade levels. And from there, you can plan activities that you actually can do with your students. We also have the ICAP Oklahoma page where you can actually go here. You can pull students, you can look at their career goals, see who's completed, who hasn't even started. You can do it by grade level if you want to. You can also look at the work-based learning section. You can pull students by name if you want to look at an individual student and go over their goals with them. This is the best place to get into those, to actually pull individual students and look at them and see if they completed or not. You'll also see these check boxes down here that show you if they've done them, if they've done their career goals but haven't done their academic goals. It'll give you an idea of where a student is. You can pull it, it is in alphabetical order, or you can do, and you can also pull them in by grade level. That's completely up to you. Once you do pull them, if you want to view a report or print a report, this is what the student report looks like. You can actually print this. It will only show you the last completed data that a student has done. It does not show a summative of everything that the student has done in the database. This page is only for immediate, like what has been done up to this moment. And it only shows the most accurate current testing or data available, not summative. I just want to make sure I say that because people will think that they can look at everything and you can't. But it is in their system. If you actually go into their login or you look at the student's account, they do actually still have like a history of everything they've done in that system, just not on this report. This is the ed plan portion. If you're familiar with the OKCG system, once again, this is the administrative training. So I'm trying to, hopefully you've seen the student side of it already. But if you haven't, this is what it looks like when they're making their ed plans. All they do is go in there and they pick out the classes that are available to them. These can be customized. You can contact Cooter and they can help you customize according to what your actual district offers, if that's something that's of interest to you. But on the admin side, let me see. Hold on one second. I do want to go to the system, just not yet. On the admin side, there is actually a different report, and actually I can go in there now and show you. Let's see. I would like to show you live so you get an idea of what we work with. This is the admin side of it, of that same report. I'm sorry, the same system. And once again, we're going to go under reports. We can go over here and look at our additional reports. These are the ICAP goal systems. You can actually specify what you get to see by clicking on this cog. That's the reason why I wanted to show you. You can see, you can click what you want to see or what you need to see and take off things that you don't need to see in these reports and just submit that and save it. You can also select how you want to search for, well, basically select the student information you want to be displayed on that report as well, their personal info. Some things your district may consider too personal. That's why these are able to be personalized so that you can choose and decide according to what your district says they're going to do. Over here on this button is also the home section. It'll take you back to that report, but this is also the mark you can push to get your dashboard of your district. My district is imaginary, so my numbers don't really exist. You can go back to home to go back to the reports. Um, you can click on the goal detail reports right here to look at your students. Once again, you can look at any of the goals after graduation, current, high school. If you want to pull reports just to see if students have completed it, you can look at goals that only the reports that are completed. As you can see over here in my tab, it turned everything into yes, and you can look at students that way, or you can look at who hasn't completed and print that report. You can always export this to Excel, where you can actually just make a nice little box where you can have a checklist to talk to students by if you need to contact them and figure out why they haven't done things. You can set dates for when you're looking for this to be done by. You can also look at your other goal categories if you wanted to, or you can look up a specific student if you're looking for them. Let's go back. I also like, once again, this ICAP report. I'm gonna go right here to favorites. I do want to introduce that to y'all. You can go to the favorites report, and you can pull students by, you can pull the information by cluster if you wanted to, and look at your students as well. That's totally up to you. You can do it by grade level if you're just wanting to look and see what 10th grade is doing, what each student had a cluster, what their 3 clusters were. That's another way to look. You can also print it off if you needed to show someone in the school. That's just another availability to you that I think is neat if you're a counselor who needs to look at some information more in depth or do a deeper dive. And you can also look at our connected business opportunities. If you wanted to pull different companies and introduce them to your students, this is where you can do all this under your aggregated reports. Now, let me go back to home. I'm sorry, I can actually just go to the admin page. If you're trying to look at the actual ed plans, like what I showed you on the last slide, this is where ed plans are. You can basically choose your district or your school. You can pull a report by student educational plan. You have options to also choose like not started, pending, completed. I would look at pending students in this case. And I'm just gonna say, I guess current any school year right now because my district is once again made up. And I want to look at my seniors just to make sure they're on track. And I'm looking at all my graduation years. They're really my seniors. I can view a report of them. I can pick one that's been submitted. I can look at them. I'm gonna choose Linda Rogers here. And right here, she's incomplete. So with Linda, there's not much I can do right now. I can look at her, what she does have, but she hasn't submitted anything because she's incomplete. I can't see her report. So let's go back. Let me pick someone who is done. Here we go. I'm gonna pick Amy. I think Amy's a good person to choose real quick. And Amy is complete. So with her, I can actually look for her ed plan right here, which has been submitted. I can look at it for senior year. If I think that it meets my criteria as a teacher, I can actually say click to review it. And when I click to review it, if I agree that everything's up to this level is perfect and Amy's good to go, I can approve it, which will automatically put my name on it from what I'm logged under. And so if I'm signed in as Jane Smith, it's going to sign Jane Smith. I'm the teacher who's actually approving this. This is good for advisory teachers who have to check ed plans. If you're a counselor who's doing, or a career counselor who's doing ed plans and you're checking off on them, this is a good way to go through that too. This is another way to just approve and check ed plans. You can print them off if you want to this way and just go individually and review with students before you approve it. That's a choice. If this is the piece you want to use for consultation before you approve it, It's basically a summative of everything that they put in. You can actually talk to them at that point about class changes, why they're not actually following the actual ed plan or the actual career choice plan that they've identified. This is a good time to talk about that. And if they are on task, you can approve it. If not, you can actually deny it, as it says, deny it, and it kicks it back and the student can work on it again. Okay. Another thing I want to go over before I leave the system is I was talking to you about fixing those messages. When you go over here on post a message, as you can see, there goes my bad message where I made my mistakes. I'm going to go in here under the pencil. I can click that. I can actually go in here and actually put updates for March. All seniors up. I got an N out of place. I can fix that too. I can save it. And now, just like you see it corrected here, it's also corrected on the student side as well. Just like that. You don't have to retract. You don't have to pull the messages back. You can just fix it right there. And now it's okay. You can also add new messages if you wanted to. Totally up to you. Before I move on, are there any questions? I think it looks like AJ, you've been in there actually getting everybody answered. Okay, well, we're going to move on. I'm going to go back to the slide. So once again, we do have the Connect to Business, which is open. Basically, this is a way for students to understand what companies are actually available for them to actually do apprenticeships, work-based learning, or any kind of internships. We work as a staff very hard at recruiting new opportunities from employers. We have recently added for at least the Norman, Oklahoma or Central Oklahoma area, at least 400 new employers have been put in the system, and we are always looking for more to add. If you are a teacher of a career tech or public school system who has some businesses that you would like to see us add, feel free to get in contact with us and email us those. We will work diligently to get those put into the system so that your students have access to them and that they understand, who's career tech, what kind of opportunities they're looking for. We'll go over that. We'll discuss it with them as far as what public school students are looking for, because believe it or not, the two are actually looking for two totally different types of internships and apprenticeship programs. And that's some things that companies actually have questions about that we're here and we're more than willing to go over that with them. Some of the companies that we currently have that we like to show we have Baker Hughes, we have Dell, Ditch Witch, we have Dolease, who's everywhere. I don't think I've ever been to a corner of Oklahoma where I don't run into a Dolease. We also have Kim Ray, ODOT, PSO, which that's from my neck of the woods down south. We have Ray and quite a few other places, as well as some fire departments. We have a lot of hospitals that are actually looking for students, CNA opportunities, things like that. Do feel free, once again, to contact us because that's what we're here for. We're trying to help you get all these opportunities in so your students can see them and that it's more student driven and they're able to engage with these companies and start pursuing their career field. Once again, this is my team. If you have any questions, I'm Latoya Miller. We also have AJ Kroll, who's working my chat line. And we also have Nathan Brubaker, they're excellent trainers. We all do the same job interchangeably because we are one team, OKCareerGuide. And if you have any further questions and you feel like you can't get in contact with us, once again, you can always feel great to reach out to the Cooter Client Engagement Team. They are just like us. They live to serve. They want to make sure that you have a flawless experience in the OKCareerGuide system. And they love to go over things with you as well as help you fix any problems. They have that power to reach back in the admin side to fix. They can also go into a student account and fix anything that's not working right for you. And they do work immediately. I cannot express that enough. I was a career counselor out in the field. And sometimes when I have 40 students looking at me, the only person I can get in touch with was Cooter Client Engagement, and they never failed. So I want to put that out there again for you. If you have any other questions, do feel free to contact me or my team. I don't want to hold you from any of the other meetings, but I'm going to open it up for Q&A if there's any that are directly to me. If not, this will conclude the end of my training. I appreciate you coming. Yes, go ahead, AJ.
Hey, I was just going to say, especially for our participants on here, we have John Miller, who's the Vice President of Client Engagement. So I know that we've got some veterans on this meeting that have had some burning questions and requests, and now would just be an amazing time to unmute yourself and share any comments, concerns, questions.
The guru of gurus online.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I had a question earlier, and I typed it in here. When you said you were talking about students rolling over from the next year, do you just mean by simply just changing their grade?
Well,
is that all you have to do under their profile, or what did you mean by that?
When you have students rolling over, if you go under when you're in the main account, let me see if I can get out of here real quick. I work sort of everywhere. When you're in the student account, and I'll get in here real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. Whoops. Technology has not loved me today as I have wanted it to. If you go over here where the student icon is, under here, you actually have the account setting. And yes, there is a place where you can roll over the grade level, but also if a student needs to be moved to a school and you know what school they went to, you can also put that in this system too, and it will help move them out of your system. This is the individual based way to do it. You also have, like I said, here's the grade level rollover. Some students actually graduate. And if the students are done with high school, you would click here and it will let you know, like, you can put like, hold on, school text and organization. Let me see, is this is more or less AJ's specialty than mine. Is this where I would go, AJ, to upgrade them, to rotate them? I think I used a little box.
I was going to say, I think AJ jumped off, but this is John Milroy. AJ mentioned just a second ago from Cooter. So I want to make sure, I think the question was if they were done with, if they're done with high school and they're going on to like Oklahoma State or wherever they're going on to, you're on the right track right there, Toya. You just click that. Then, for example, I don't know, type in like Oklahoma State or some university or something like that.
Okay, and then it'll, yeah, there it goes. It pulls them up and it moves them out of your database for your school. And that's how you would transition them out if they're done. But once this is done, we don't advise it because once it's done, it's pretty much a done deal. They've been moved over to the adult side, which is Cooter Journey at that point.
Yeah, once they slide into someone else's database, I mean, you're gone, you're rid of them forever, and maybe you like that, but just to make sure that that's the exact spot that you want them. I want to say, I think some administrators, I believe Career Tech has like instructions maybe on their site, or maybe they can ask you afterwards, Latoya, or I mean, AJ and Nate as well too, but there might be some times where you got like John and Latoya and Jim and John, like they're just other people in the database that shouldn't be there anymore. There is somewhere, if you went to, sorry, I act like you can see my hands moving. Transition users.
Yes.
And then there is, you would do, I don't know if this will go quick for you, Latoya, but you would just do the search and you'd be able to find, oh, this is my list of, I look at it and I see John's not there. And what's that look like? Sorry, I can't see it real well, but someone named Brandy Abbott, like they're not supposed to be there anymore. You would click that box next to their name.
Sorry.
Sorry, go back.
There you go.
Yeah, just a little checkbox. And if you click that once and you go down,
you put that
that's where you put that activation code, and that'll magically throw them into the not into the abyss, but they'll be in a holding tank. And if they ever need to go back in there and do it, they can. It's just another way you could clean up your database.
If you know what school they went to, you can also put that school's activation code down here, and it can transfer them out to their database. and get them out of your number. So say if they didn't graduate, this is another way to move like a junior who went to like, I think some high schools like in Lawton, we had 3 different high schools. And so if I needed to move that student from Lawton High over to MAC, then I put MAC's authorization code and move them out. I might have 10 kids like that on this list. I could identify all 10 of them and move them at one time out of my database so that they're not skewing my school system. So those are just different ways you can transition. Did I answer your question? Did we team answer your question for you?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes, it does.
Are there any other questions? Yes, I have a question from Jennifer about the slides. Yes, the slides will be available. I will put them up in the Hoover so you guys can access them. Any other questions? Well, if there are none other, that is my presentation. Once again, I appreciate everybody's presence. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We do help, we aim to help and serve you guys to be better performers in the field. We'll answer any questions we can for you. And if we don't, as you can see, I will contact John and I will find out now, but I will contact Cooter and we'll find out the answer for you. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.